Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenges. Today we have Hidden Figures. This is the 2016 film. It runs about 2 hours and 8 minutes long, and this is a story of the women of color, the black women behind the space program. Just three of them. There's many, many more that were behind it. They were computers. Yeah, this is actually, I realize these days we just go, a computer is a machine, it's a thing, but computers is actually a title of a person. Yes, I should know this, but it's the kind of thing that it just sounded weird to me at first because I kept saying computers, well, referring to the women. And they were the ones in charge of doing all the math that calculated trajectory and landing and takeoff and force and distance and all these things that had to be figured out when it comes to launching a man into space, making him orbit the Earth, and having him come down without dying. And strange thing about this, in a very white male dominated industry, business, corporation, whatever you want to call it, in a very still segregated state of Virginia in 1961, not that long ago. Uh, okay, 60 years ago, um, these these three women tells a story of. I gotta make sure I get their names right. I don't want to mess this up. Catherine G. Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Mary Jackson, and they're portrayed by Taraji P. Henson, Octavia Spencer, and Janelle Monáe. So it's a great cast so far. Each of them, they each of them have their own story in a sense. They're friends. And again, this is based on a true story. This has actually happened. Whether it's down to the exact detail or not, I've heard that things aren't exactly one to one. For dramatic effect, I think they had to make some changes here and there. But for the most part, their legacy is 100% real. They are the women behind so many aspects of what it took to get our men into space. Specifically portrayed here, John Glenn during the Friendship 7 mission. Yeah, it's kind of, you can't, their impact cannot be understated, and for considering that they were a lower class of human being at the time, who had their own water fountains and their own bathrooms. It just still, I know I shouldn't be surprised by any of this, but it's still, yeah, when you see that, oh, that's just the way it is, was the expression. Well, that's just the way it's always been. That's just the way it is the excuse that's been given by a number of characters in this, but also by pretty much anybody who lived through that era, even today, saying that's why change? What does it matter? Because that's just the way it is. But anyway, one of the things that we discover here, when it comes to Catherine's position, when she gets moved up, she can do math like you would not believe. She's a genius from a very young age, and when she suddenly gets bumped up to a very important area where it's just her and a bunch of white dudes uh, in a room, and she realizes that she's pulled away from all of her other friends and the other black women that are in the working at Langley there, and they all work in a specific building, pretty much segregated from everybody else, and they have their own bathroom, obviously. Well, guess what? In a building where it's all just men for the most part, and a few women here and there, certainly not black women, she realizes she has to go to the bathroom, and she has to make a half mile, well, 1 mile round trip trek in heels as fast as she can, and just to go to the bathroom. Not exactly ideal to getting your work done. She has to take her work with her, by the way, when she does this, so she can do it while she's in the bathroom getting business done. So, yeah. It's horrendous conditions. Yeah, sure, it could be worse. But yeah, you know what? It's still pretty dang awful compared to what anybody else has to deal with in this era, as who's not a black woman. And there's plenty of situations where they're like, well, we don't let women into meetings. Why would we let women into meetings? It wasn't even a matter of race. In many cases, it was just women. Why should they ever be in a meeting? This is for men. With no reason whatsoever. It's just the way it's always been. And yes, that's the central theme of this film, is that, yeah, regardless of gender or race, these women were more than capable than their peers, than the ones who didn't see them as peers. The people in the same room, they were blasting by them. Octavia Spencer's character Dorothy, she's dealing with managing all the women, the black women, in the pool of computers, computer women, and she's supervising them without being a supervisor. She's fighting to actually get that title and that pay, but that's not a thing that happens. And so she butts heads with Kirsten Dunst, who is no longer a peppy teenager cheerleader. From they make her look very 60s and very plain in this. So yeah, she's grown up. So it's kind of interesting to see her in a very much. I mean, yeah, she's had plenty of other mature roles, but still, the idea is that I'm still used to seeing her as Torrance in Bring It On. So that's just me. Then there's Janelle Monáe's character, who she's just a firecracker. She's just awesome, Mary Jackson, and she's supposed to have a certain position that she wants to be an engineer because she has the skills, she has the talent, she has all this stuff. And guess what? They keep moving the goalposts. Whenever she is at the same level as anybody else, they're like, oh, by the way, you got to do all these other classes, extra classes, in order to get it. She's like, well, more than likely nobody else had to do that. And in order for her to even get those classes, she could do it at the local high school if she can't go to the university. That's not within reach. But it's a segregated school, so she has to fight against that and actually show up in court to make a case so that she can be able to go to school to prove that she can do the job to get the education for the job she already knows how to do. And of course, the main character, Catherine, it's her struggle with being taken seriously as a woman, and quietly and with dignity do the job that honestly nobody else seems to be able to do. She can do stuff. She just walks up to a chalkboard and just blows people away. Jaws drop. And it's kind of freaking great to see that happen. Kevin Costner is her boss. Jim Parsons from Big Bang Theory is one of her coworkers who's kind of chafing at. He's kind of has to work with her, and he's redacting stuff out of the paperwork that makes her job harder. It's the white people aren't exactly cast as monsters and demons and just evil. They're not all racist. They're just doing what they do because that's the way it is in 1961. So I'm telling you a whole lot about what their struggles are and everything else. And yes, I mean, I guess I can't really spoil what happens if you know what the space race was all about and how everybody was involved and what John Glenn did. I really can't really spoil all of that. But this movie is all about seeing real people who, just because of their gender and their race, were pretty much hidden away from the public eye. Most people had no idea that black women would actually even work for NASA. And what would they do? Are they the cleaning ladies? Are they the help? No, not at all. So, yeah, this is truly inspirational film. And by the way, one of the most fun things is, even though these women are friends and they have their own separate storylines in a sense, whenever you get them together in a room together, these actresses just they're everything just brightens, everything lights up. So it's great to see them together and just doing some just it's like a buddy comedy, and when they get together because they bust on each other and they just seem like they're having a good time. So these women portraying real American heroes, and stay to the end, obviously, over as the credits roll, because you're going to get to see what their legacy has wrought, and what they went on to do beyond just this 2 hour movie. So they are icons, and this is something that deserves a story that deserves to be told. So if you haven't gotten a chance to check it out yet, I'm surprised it's taken me this long myself to see it, but I highly recommend it, especially if you've got girls who think that math is hard, or they've been told that math is hard, and they've been told that maybe these things aren't for them. And you got know any racists, show them this. It'll just piss them off. Um, don't hang out with racists. It's not worth the time. Anyway, that's it. That's all I'm going to tell you about that. I highly recommend it. Hidden Figures, check it out. I can't believe this movie's almost 5 years old, so that's kind of weird. I'm not going to pick a random movie or whatever from the thing today. Tomorrow is Friday, and that means WandaVision. Phase 4 of the MCU starts tomorrow. So, right about midnight or so, I think I'm going to check to see if it's been up. It's been posted up, and I will be watching. And I'll give you my response as soon as I can, right afterwards. So, I'm really looking forward to that. So, WandaVision, Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, and Vision are in a very strange place, considering he's dead. So there's a big mystery to unfold here, and it connects so much into what's to come with the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in the months and years to come. So, yay! So, see you back here tomorrow with WandaVision on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. See you then.